just saying, since we didn't have our other show this morning, I stopped and got myself a treat.
Oh.
A coffee, so to speak.
A coffee. So to speak.
Well,
is it like a typical Tucker coffee where most of what's in that cup isn't coffee?
no, I'm saying like, well, yeah, this morning, yeah, it's more dessert than
You're
actual
having dessert
coffee.
for breakfast.
Like I can feel the sugar seeping into my system.
That's good.
No, but usually, I curate it up, throw the K-cup in, reload, and I do the house brew.
Right.
But I had already left. Our other show was maneuvering around, so I'm like, I'm gonna go ahead and stop.
All right.
And then
Get your little coffee.
yeah, sorry, I'm silencing and darkening my phone. Since you're like, put the
Mic
put
up.
the mic up. No, I got a white raspberry truffle. That just sounds exactly what it's delicious.
Did it come with a designer purse?
Yes. Dude, I don't even care. It's that good.
Oh man. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna quickly throw back to the first ever Tucker and the Beard episode. The one that didn't even get released.
Wow. Okay.
Okay? And we're gonna kick this week off with a dad joke from a never released.
See,
This joke is not in that episode, but in the spirit of that episode that never got released, I have a
Okay.
dad joke for you.
okay.
And this one,
I don't remember it, so this is going to be like the first time
this one murdered the kids. Murdered.
I think you need to rephrase that.
Nope.
Okay.
Not gonna do it. They died.
Okay.
Why don't you ever see elephants hiding behind trees?
Why?
Because they're really good at it.
All right. Fair enough.
Welcome to the Tucker and the Beard program.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Our Real Jobs.
I was like, you like paused. You did the whole.
Thinking maybe you might jump in, but
Yeah, sorry. I'm still waking up.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for my cake to.
for your birthday cake to set in.
That's literally what I feel. I'm like, oh, but it's so good. Yeah.
Well,
Rockstar Realty Group.
Yeah. Welcome to day 8.
I know you have texted me almost every single day.
No. I've been waiting like two or 3 days in between, just to keep it fresh.
But my response on the last one, was kind of crickets in return. And to be fair, it was one of those texting conversations where it was like the period at the end of the sentence. So
Right.
not that I was expecting anything
right.
grand other than a, haha or whatever. But it was thoughts and prayers.
Thoughts and prayers.
Which is just, I was like, hey, my thoughts and prayers are with you on day. It was day
rough.
7. It was yesterday.
Well, today's day 8 of the 10-day media and power blackout.
But like we were just talking about, there's always something that's supposedly
Gonna happen.
we're still waiting.
The storm is approaching. And what I mean by that is, for the first time in months, it's cloudy outside today.
Right. No other
storm.
No other storms
Then
are brewing.
I've checked the weather report, and I see no other storms on the horizon. Just moving trucks.
And because I didn't post this, we were joking about it at length one day.
Okay.
But I was doing some work at the house.
Okay.
Talking with my wife, and she wants to replace the couch.
Okay.
Right? We were discussing this.
Yes.
It's time for the couch to
go.
Listen, could it last a little bit longer?
Sure.
Yeah, it can. It's a little worn. Some people love the couch. Some people hate the couch. But I think it's time. It's
For a new couch.
It's time for a new couch. And with a new couch, as we discussed, comes a whole new set of furniture, accessories.
Some new chairs.
Gonna need some new chairs. Gonna need a new cabinet.
Gonna need a new cabinet. Absolutely.
Definitely need a new cabinet. Some speakers.
Mm-hmm.
But everything has to match the couch.
Right.
So it seemed like it's just kind of like you have it for a certain amount of time.
Right.
And you go, hey, we still like the couch. We still want it, you know, still love with it. We still want to have it for a while.
Right.
Which means you have everything else for a while. But I think it's time. I think it's time.
It is.
So, you know, over the next week.
The difference between your couch and that couch is that we just, in your scenario.
I don't know what you're talking about, scenario.
In your scenario, you're buying your new couch. You really don't know what you're going to get.
Right.
It's a mystery bag.
And that's the same on both.
Well, true.
I mean,
some days the couch is comfortable, and some days your current couch is
thinks
really,
it's
really
a coffee table.
It's really awkward.
I'm just, you know, in all intents and purposes, sometimes you need to clean house.
Yeah.
And anyways.
Well, there's that for this week.
And you know what? I spent.
So this morning on the way into the studio, I had a somewhat tense moment.
Okay.
Because I'm driving in. I pull into the left-hand turn lane to turn into our office. And a giant white windowless van follows me into the left-hand turn lane. I'm like, interesting.
Right.
Yeah, my situational awareness is pretty good most of the time.
Right.
Pull into our little parking lot. Keeping an eye on my mirrors, and this giant white windowless van pulls up right next to me.
Wow. You're like, this is the moment I've been training for my whole entire life.
It's happening.
So excited.
And
ask me if I want candy. Ask me if I want candy.
And so, my heart rate increases slightly. Mm-hmm. I get that feeling.
Right.
I'm like, all right, well, now our office is also a functioning real estate office as well. Right. So, it could be for that, but still, it was a little after 8 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
People usually aren't just swinging through.
Right.
And I look to my left, and it's a fan in front of the show.
Oh, okay.
So, thanks, Ethan, for giving me a minor heart palpitation. His sticker on his van had started to fade and peel off, and he just needed a new one.
Nice.
So yeah.
Right
thanks, Ethan, for making me think I was about to get mugged.
Like, it's one of those things I was thinking about.
Ethan's not a small human being. He's tall, bearded,
intimidating guy that could get out if you didn't recognize.
Right.
Well, good job, Ethan. Well played.
Didn't. Congratulations,
unintentionally,
Ethan.
but well played.
You didn't get shot today.
Yeah, good job.
And I didn't get kidnapped, so we're all good.
Listen, I always thought I was a cute kid. Like, not like conceited, like cute kid, but there were some ugly kids out there growing up. So in a whole scheme,
are we allowed to have this conversation now?
What?
Continue.
I don't know where you think I'm going.
Oh, I was going to talk about ugly kids.
Oh, that we're allowed to talk about ugly kids?
Yeah, are we allowed to, is that an acceptable topic of conversation?
I think depending, as long as you don't, specifically talk about, hey, little Johnny.
Okay.
There's no particular little Johnny. That's just the little Johnny joke for all the little Johnnies out there.
You're probably not atrocious looking.
I'm sure you're a cute little kid. But, I never got... it's a good thing that I never got,
Are you
attempted.
lamenting that there was never an attempted kidnapping?
Right. Evidently I wasn't that cute.
You're not that cute. Apparently.
Right. So there was never an attempt. Because, I was a pretty gullible kid. I'm not saying, candy, because I was never, a candy kid, but they're like, hey, there's a Lego set back here.
Yeah,
I would have been like, sweet.
I got a Game Boy in here for
Right.
you.
I would have been
Let's go.
sweet. Where are we heading to?
Mexico.
Where are we heading to? That is not me making any kind of joke. But I was like, I've never... Like, you grow up thinking... It's kind of like quicksand.
Well,
you always think quicksand's going to be more of an issue.
Right. And it's never once played into my day plan.
Never run into quicksand.
No. Do I keep rope in my bag all the time just in case I need to,
right.
make a loop and
right. Have I done
pull
training
myself out?
to sit there and be like, this is how you get out of quicksand?
I've watched several YouTube videos.
Right. I've gone down that rabbit hole and I'm like, okay.
I feel like as long as I can keep my emotions in check, I'll be all right.
Right. Like, I've gotten to the point where I'm like, listen, I think that I can keep myself in check to not only rescue my whole family, like give them orders to how to get out, but also rescue myself.
Well,
no, that's
because you can't help anybody if you can't get out.
Right. It's kind of like the airline thing. You got to put your, put your mask on yourself before
Attempting
putting mask
to
on
help
others. So, what
Really?
kind of dad would you be like, hey, I got out, everybody.
Deuces!
See you.
This is the out I've been waiting for.
Should have watched the video I told you to watch.
Who's laughing now, family?
That's so horrible. Evidently, we're in one of those. It must be my birthday cake coffee.
Must be that.
Sorry.
No, I really thought we were going to get into the fact that some of your guys' kids just aren't that cute. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I always sit there like mathematical equation if it's like attractive parents.
It doesn't always play, though.
But it doesn't play out because I'm a 10 myself. No, I'm just, no. I was like, I will say my wife is a 10. I'm a 9 3/4. That was a Harry Potter joke which should say everything.
I love that.
Listen,
you've
I'm
recently taken a greater interest in the Harry Potter lore. It seems
I've always had an interest. Like it goes back quite a ways because it was when I first met my wife, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, you would love the Harry Potter movies." And one thing about my wife, you can never tell her to do anything.
okay.
Like, hey, you should watch this movie. She's instantly going to be like, no. So it took a long time before it was on TV or something like that, and she got it. And so it was kind of like, aha, I told you. And she's like, no, but you know me well enough. Like, you tell me to watch something, I'm never going to want to watch it. And
so, okay.
Yeah, I'm just...
Okay.
No,
okay.
like... No, kind of pressuring her to watch.
So how did
something.
you trick her into marrying you then?
I am that good of a salesman, but that is my best sale, is convincing
Shayla,
that.
Blink twice if you're here against your will.
Right. Oh, seriously, I say that all the time. I'm like, I'm just waiting for you to figure that, like, this whole thing out. Refer you like, this is a whole Beauty and the Beast situation. What's that syndrome? When you're captives.
Oh,
like
Stockholm syndrome.
Stockholm syndrome. Yeah. Yeah. Just be like, you good? Like, figure that out. So, cause we're coming up. End of this week will be 17 years.
Congratulations.
I should do the picture of us from the wedding.
I was there.
I like Brian Williams.
No, I was actually there.
I know, exactly.
Unlike Brian Williams.
That's true.
I was there.
So, that's true. Well, before we get into the good...
I think this has been great so far. I don't know what you're talking about.
Seriously, I was like, I should drink birthday cake every time we have to do a show. Yeah, I forgot where I was going. Oh, before we get into the good things that we watched, or intriguing things that we watched, because we have some things to discuss. It's been a while since I watched a bad movie. Like, we started this
right
on the precipice of watching bad movies.
Correct.
Which hurt our souls.
It did.
I rented a movie over the weekend.
Like, rented it? Like, you went to the Red Box?
No,
or
no,
you
no,
just,
no.
like, digitally rented it?
Listen, it's the new age of renting.
Gotcha.
Because Also, as far as the Redbox, there's nothing on Redbox now that I can't do streaming wise.
Correct.
Price is different, yes. But I know myself well enough
To know that you're going to pay more for the Redbox.
I'm going to end up
cheaper.
Right. I'm going to end up paying more because I'm going to rent multiple movies and not get a chance to watch one. And chances are pretty high that I will forget to return them the next day. Just because we have busy lives and I'm going, and then it's the next day and going.
And you choose
forgot.
not to make it a priority.
I forget. Okay, if you want to
There's
label it that way.
There is a Redbox between you and the office.
Oh, there's multiple.
That
I'm sure.
No, there's one like right at Maverick.
Right. That's what I was saying. That was my go-to.
It's a matter of it's not
Right.
It's not up here.
Right. We can talk about how
you choose
dumb
to
I
not.
am.
No,
Jeez.
you choose.
No, I'm just saying.
It's a choice to not make
It's
that
happened,
a priority to do it.
It's happened enough times.
Yeah.
That I've
been there.
Where I'm just like,
never mind.
Okay. It's already 9:00 or whenever the return time was.
See, I've forgotten and I've raced the clock.
Oh yeah, no.
To the Walgreens near my house.
Yeah. As
to
have
return
I.
those, and I've gotten them in at 8:58.
Right. No.
Suckers.
And I'm with you. So I'm not opposed to it. It's just one of those things. Or I could rent it for $1 more.
Right.
Or something than I would have, and it automatically returns.
It returns itself.
So call me lazy. Call me I just don't have to think about it. I don't have to worry about it. But I watched a movie that I was kind of... Listen, by the trailer, I think I sent you the trailer.
And I watched half of it and was like,
right,
I'm good.
Well, it was one of those, you knew it was going to be a stupid comedy.
Right.
Getting into it. The cast alone was stupid comedy actors. But I have enjoyed things that they've been in.
Right.
So the movie is Buddy Games. And I believe I know it was at least directed by, if not also written by Josh Duhamel, who was the lead actor in it.
Yeah.
Are you looking it up right now?
I am.
Okay.
And you're right.
Okay. I thought more of him. I think it was his directorial debut.
He's very hit or miss.
Yeah, I've been a supporter. I'm not going to say fan of his. I'm just supporter. There's just those people that you want good things.
Right.
Hey man, I want good things for you. And he's been one of those people. I used to watch the show Las Vegas that he was the star of and enjoyed it. It was Love Boat and a casino, but it was still enjoyable. He's been in Transformers, and I'm just like, this is his time. Transformer. Oh no, that little shooting star just kind of fizzled out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But then there's some other actors in there that but it was very, by the trailer, it was very grown up.
You know who's similar to that though, and also, if I walked past both of these gentlemen on the street,
okay,
I might mistake one for the other.
Okay.
So kind of in that same vein as Timothy Olyphant.
Yes.
Had some really big opportunities.
Right, and just never
quite gets
hit the peak.
Yeah.
They're climbing the hill, and you're like,
and then
is
Netflix canceled the Santa Clarita Diet.
It was a weird show, though.
It was cool, though.
It was cool, but it was
I
weird.
liked that show a lot.
But yeah, so I was, sitting there. Okay, man, I'm shutting up. No, I'm just. No, so I was kind of excited to watch it in a weird way. It kind of reminded me of Grown Ups. I knew it was going to be an R-rated,
right.
That there was going to be some adult humor in it, so to speak. And we've had this discussion before. Why do grotesque things, or the line used to be here? I remember when American Pie came out, and they crossed that line, and everybody was like, "Oh my god,
Yeah.
Now, they do the most.
Now somebody humping a pie is like primetime television.
Yeah. Like, and so it was just doing things for the sake of doing things. Like,
Yeah.
it's just
plain, strictly for shock.
Yeah, and it's just nonstop shock value pranks on each other, but they're best friends.
Right.
Listen, you do half of anything that they did, like, we are no longer friends.
So, again, I watched about half the trailer because that's all I needed.
Right.
And these things are not what friends do.
Right.
To one another.
And that was the heart, like that was supposed to be the heart of the movie.
Was
these buddies. Friends? They're friends. They're best friends, and they are like hurting each other.
Right. Like listen
badly.
I've played some pranks on friends before.
Yeah.
But
it's always like ha ha ha. Like it's never been a cruel.
I think the worst.
Go ahead.
Sorry,
this is your
man.
Time to. This is your safe space.
Sorry, Trevor. You're about to. So, my dear friend Trevor, this is probably the worst thing I've ever done to another human.
Okay.
And it's not that bad, but it was pretty funny.
Right.
So he was visiting one time, and he was in the shower, and I took a gallon pitcher full of iced water.
Right.
Popped the lock on the bathroom.
Dumped it
on him.
Right.
Which caused him to then chase after me down the street.
Oh, okay.
Whilst stark raving naked.
Okay.
And that's probably the worst, closest to injury I've ever...
Right, see, I think you were going to... Like, I thought it was going to be much worse.
No,
like, that's not...
That's about... Like, that's as bad as it gets.
Right, but it wasn't your... It's not like you locked him out of the house.
No.
Like, that was his...
I did accidentally... We were just horsing around, and I did put his face through a window.
Okay.
But that wasn't on purpose. I forgot.
Right.
It was one of those situations where we were just horsing around.
Like, accidents happen.
Well, and I thought... there was a curtain over the door, and it was the door that had a little window in it.
Right.
And we were just messing around, and I grabbed the back of his head and just... Right. Like I was going to smash his face into the door. Not hard, but again, just...
Right.
And it turns out there was a piece of glass behind the curtain that I just forgot about. And
right. But I'm talking, like... Accident, like... Had, groups of friends, and you go horsing around, and accidents happen from time to time.
Right.
But... Like, this is, like, intentionally, like, hurting.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's just not... And then at the end of the movie, they're like, but we're best friends. We needed this. Homeboy just took an arrow through his hand in a game of archery tag. Like, paintball. Like, it's not... I'm trying to figure out the humor. Right. And there's other things I will not discuss on this because it's just that shock value,
right?
Times
it's
10.
It's like Jackass from back in the day. Right. It's like by the time they made the third movie,
you were over it,
dude. It wasn't just me that was over it.
Yeah.
Here's what killed Jackass 3 for me. Mm-hmm. It was the look on their faces.
Yeah.
Before
none
doing
of them,
some of the.
Right.
You could just see it, it's like...
Oh, yeah.
The look of absolute self-loathing.
Yeah.
On someone that, I can't, it just screamed, I can't believe I'm doing this thing.
Right. I'm too old for this.
Right.
Like, I don't... And, I was too... they've made other Jackass movies, like The Bad Grandpa. Never even watched it.
That one wasn't as...
But it was just, I was over it. I was...
Yeah.
I'm just too old to watch.
Or that one where Johnny Knoxville buys the old defunct amusement park.
Yeah, never even watched it.
I didn't watch that one either.
Yeah, I'm just we're over it. I grew up, I was during my heyday, it was CKY,
Right.
which was before, it was Jackass before Jackass.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's it. And then they started doing Jackass, and I'm like, now it's MTV and it's all trendy, like whatever. Now it's like the cool thing.
Right.
But, it's like, all right, cool for a while. And then, like you said, after a while you watch it, and before each thing, they're like, I really don't.
You can
really
just see
don't
it on
want
their
to do
face,
this.
like, oh,
Yeah.
I made bad choices with the money I made in the first round,
And I made
and
bad
so now I
choices
have
of
to,
friends.
and now I have to do this again.
Right.
You can just see it on their face.
Right.
They know that they made poor financial decisions that are forcing them to make another movie of doing this stuff all over again, and it hurts, and they hate it.
Right. It's just, I don't know. But I think it was a combination of that, watching this movie. Like, I'm just too old to watch.
It was like a super
these
scripted
movies.
Jackass.
Right. Like, I'm too old to watch these movies. And they're too old to be doing this stuff.
Right.
Which is kind of like the beginning part where they're like, oh, we haven't had these buddy games in a while, which is just they never explained why they started it.
I see.
Of a competition every year. And then they stopped. But then it was just shock for the sake of shock.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, like, you're like, okay, I'm now invested too much to, like, I'm just going to watch the whole thing.
It's okay to just walk away, though.
It is. But it was like...
It's okay to do that.
Yeah. And it was like, okay. And it was almost there, but we're like, all right. There was funny, enough funny parts that keep you going.
To make you want to keep...
Right. Like, all right, let's
finish the show.
Let's see how this ends. And then the way that it ends is just like, oh, yeah, they ran out of time writing this thing. Mm-hmm. Or they just didn't know how to end it. So they just ended it. Mm. And so it was just kind of like, oh, all right, so that whole thing that you were building up throughout the whole entire movie, we're just gonna
pitch it.
We're just gonna pitch that. Okay, cool. So
no doubt.
All right, let's get to the meat and potatoes.
Shall we?
I know you well enough.
It is. We've been waiting over a year.
Yeah.
Okay, because this show was announced at... No, it wasn't... they never advertised it as being a part of the Disney Plus launch.
No, but it was pushed.
They said, we're making this show.
Yeah. Along with these shows, we're making this show.
Right.
Which raised questions.
From the get-go. Because...
The show being...
WandaVision.
Yeah.
So, first and foremost, Vision's dead.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vision's dead.
And he didn't come back.
No, because he was not part of the blip.
No.
He had to die before the blip because...
He had the stone. In his
noggin.
Yeah. So they released the first 2 episodes. And it's one of those things where I don't know if I love it. Or if I'm going, hey, I would have done it differently.
Well, but it's kind of many weird little
going back to Lost.
Right.
Like, it made me think of Lost in the fact of every episode of Lost, you had questions answered, but you had 20 more
for
questions.
Every question that got answered, you have 2 new questions.
Spoiler, they don't answer
anything in the first 2 episodes.
It is literally like watching an old...
Yeah, it's like watching an episode of Bewitched.
Like they decided to just make a old Bewitched style show.
50s sitcom.
I feel like the first one was more like Mary Tyler Moore.
Sure.
Or Dick Van Dyke. Not Mary Tyler Moore. Dick Van Dyke show. That's what it like made me think of. And then the second one was like a Bewitched. Like they're kind of... I think each episode is going to be...
to each of these.
Yeah, and I think each episode is like, hey, it's kind of like this one.
Well, and, some spoilers ahead, I suppose, but...
I was like, there's not really much
There's not much to spoil, but, like, what you're seeing... It had... You remember that movie, what was it called? Pleasantville?
Yeah.
Had some shades of that.
Right.
Where color starts creeping in.
Right.
Right. 'Cause the show's all in black and white.
Right.
And color starts creeping in bits and bots. You know, just little tiny bits.
And this one, it was
here
like little like Easter egg things that were of color, or you just notice little things.
Right. Well, I mean, you got the helicopter that she finds in the in the bush.
Right.
Which is painted suspiciously like a certain somebody's costume.
Yes.
But also has the logo on it from another comic book organization.
Yes.
That's basically S.H.I.E.L.D., but space.
Right. So it's SWORD.
Yeah.
I don't know the acronym, but it's space kind of thing. But
They're the Men in Black.
It's the new S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, no. S.H.I.E.L.D. is for
land.
things that happen here on
Earth.
On Earth, and SWORD is for not
galactic space.
Yeah.
Yes. So there's a little nod, but it doesn't answer anything as far as why this show is a show.
Not
or
yet.
Why Vision is still kicking.
Right.
Or is a thing. But it does. It's kind of like these shows mixed with like some Twilight Zone, because every once in a while you'll hear like a voice, which is not a spoiler because this was like literally in the trailer.
Right.
Of the thing of talking to Wanda. You're like, who's doing this to you or something? You hear a voice. So it's like leaves enough of a mystery that I'm in. So I'm still going to follow it and see where it goes.
Because
it was good enough as what it was.
Sentient World Observation and Response Department.
I'm kind of proud of the fact that I didn't know that.
I had to look it up.
Yeah. But no, like...
I think this has some interesting implications for Scarlet Witch's character.
Correct.
I personally think that she's being studied.
Okay.
In some way, shape, or form.
Okay.
Or in kind of like a Phoenix, Dark Phoenix capacity.
Okay. She's kind of losing it.
And this is how they are helping her to not unleash devastation.
Right. See, I think that she's done it to herself.
That's possible as well, but who's watching the show behind the desk, though?
I don't know. So I agree with you.
So that's where I'm like, I think maybe they've got her. I think maybe we'll find that she's hooked up to machines or whatever, and they're creating this world for her to live in,
right?
So that she doesn't do something great and terrible.
But the thing is that I don't understand is that's her power, is creating realities,
right?
So that's where I kind of go. This is in her grief after Endgame.
Right.
She's already done. Thanos is done. She's still there. Vision's gone. She told Thanos, you took everything for... Which is one of those funny lines because that version of Thanos didn't do anything to her. Has no idea who she is.
It's true. The version of Thanos that did that to her got an axe in the head.
Right. Because Thor went for the head.
Yeah.
That was a funny joke. And that's one of those things with Endgame where she's like, you took everything from me. And I think he even said, I don't even know who you are.
Right.
Like, whatever.
But that's also Thanos being Thanos in that moment as well.
Right. Like, you mean nothing to me.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things, like, it's kind of, he's all defeated, but like, what does she do now? And so I'm like, in her grief of, I don't have anything now.
And see, my thought process went that in her grief, she became unstable.
Right.
And posed a threat.
Correct. Because, the two guys that were looking after her, not counting Vision, were Tony.
Yep.
And Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
They're both gone. Even though through the rumor mill over the last week is Chris Evans is now in talks to return in some capacity as...
Well, again, we have to keep in mind that...
Everything's messed up now?
Well,
nothing makes sense?
That the Spider-Verse is going to bring multiples of any
All
of those
hopes.
characters.
All hopes. Yeah, because this
So
WandaVision
it has that opportunity. Just if there's more than one Spider-Man,
right.
there can be more than one Captain America.
Right. And as I understand it, there's three. This show is connected to the next Doctor Strange movie, the Multiverse of Madness,
Right.
and Spider-Man 3. These three are connected to each other.
And I think she might be
I think
what's
she's
causing that split
Yeah.
in the multiverse.
I think this is going to be the
Like I
catalyst
said,
and the cause.
in a Dark Phoenix apocalypse type of way,
Right.
where they're trying to keep her. They're focusing on creating this reality that is the sitcom that they're living in.
Right.
Because if she doesn't, more bad things will happen.
Right. Because the only thing, like going with what you said, she doesn't know what's going on.
No.
So if she was creating this reality for herself, she would be creating the reality and know what was going on.
And know what's going on.
And that's not the case. So it's just one of those weird.
It's going to be an interesting.
I get why they didn't, but I kind of wish they would have released all 8 episodes. I think there's going to be like 8 or 9.
That's not what they do, though.
I know. So they
Disney
came out with
Plus
2.
doesn't play that game.
But I've already heard that there's going to be one that's like Full House, and they're doing.
Well, as you saw from the trailer, some of the earlier trailers,
right? There's going to be like a Brady Bunch.
Yeah, there's going to be, and then she's mysteriously pregnant,
right?
Which has a different storyline implication because in the comic book she does have twins,
right? Which
that she kind of made up, but then turns out that she didn't.
Right.
So again, I think the Scarlet Witch playing into the multiverse.
Right.
I think that she could be the catalyst.
Right. Oh, I 100% think whatever the reasoning behind everything is, I think it's the catalyst for.
That's what fractures reality,
the multiverse.
Essentially.
So I think it's, as a standalone thing, it was good enough. As is, it's kind of a fun little thing.
And I think,
but it's got enough mystery.
Right. It will get better.
Yeah, it's got enough little mystery. I did hear a funny thing. So when I was watching the first episode, my wife and I were like, that was very like Dick Van Dyke. Like old Dick Van Dyke style.
Yeah.
Like, oh, the boss is coming over for dinner. Like, it was very reminiscent of that. And afterwards, I was kind of not going down this little soapbox, but then the algorithms start on your phone, and now I'm getting a whole bunch of WandaVision. But I read a thing that the producers, writers, director, whatever, met with Dick Van Dyke.
Okay.
To get his input on how to do the show accurately.
Yeah.
And we're telling him about what it was. He had no idea. Like, Marvel stuff, like, had no idea what they were talking about. Which I just thought was funny, but it's kind of like, grandparents now watching. Like, they're not into the Marvel Cinematic Universe to be able to know who Vision is. They didn't even change his name. That was the enjoyable part. His boss, he's going to work doing something, which I thought was great.
In the 50s too, to have a name like Vision, be like, oh,
that was one of the greatest jokes
hippies.
that I was, because you watch all these sitcoms, I can't tell you what Dick Van Dyke did.
No.
Like, they just went to work and they did things.
They did things.
Work related.
Sure.
And had a boss. And
Papers were filed.
And that was the joke, and it was like him trying to figure out what they did there.
And he doesn't even know.
Yeah, he doesn't know.
But he knows that productivity's risen 300% since he showed up.
Yeah, like, it was just kind of a
it was a nice nod to those. There's a lot of those classic sitcom tropes that they're playing on to.
Right, and I know
I appreciate.
Yeah, there's some other characters that I've read up enough that they are already slotted to be appearing in Marvel movies. They're actual characters. They're just in this world, unbeknownst to them. They're in this world, but no, it's cool. It's enough where I'm in.
Yeah, I think it's going to be
But I'm
a
also
really
confused.
cool show.
Yeah.
What is her name? Catherine Hahn. Her character so far, I like her character.
She is another one of those hidden gems.
Truly.
That I could name numerous movies that she's been in, and I'm like, oh my god, she's awesome. She's been in different television shows like Parks and Recreation. She was awesome. She was in
loved her
Step Brothers,
in Parks and
which was, but yeah, like there's so many things where it's like she is awesome in this role. Yeah, big fan. I'm hoping that she's someone that is going to continue in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I wonder, it'll be interesting to see how they use her.
Yeah. I know Kat Dennings is slated to return.
Okay.
From Thor. She hasn't been seen since Thor 2.
Yeah. Well, we know Natalie Portman's coming back.
Natalie Portman, well, not for the show, but Kat Dennings is going to be in the Wandavision show.
Oh, she's going to be in the show. Okay. I see.
And I forget his name. Some Park. Randall Park? Randall Park. Okay. He was the FBI agent in Ant-Man.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That looked at, he's going to be in the show. He's going to WandaVision show. So it's these cool little ties from different things. In exciting Marvel casting news, I know, I want you to sit down for this one. I know, but it's saying it because I'm setting up this news. Okay. Some casting has been released for someone returning for Thor: Love and Thunder. And I know you've been eagerly awaiting this news and wanting this person to return.
Have I? Okay.
Matt Damon.
Oh. Okay.
It was the most unexciting news. Like,
all right.
Yeah, it came up on my phone. I was like, I could literally care less.
Do we not?
I hope it's...
Who's he playing? Do we know that?
Or he was in Ragnarok.
Oh, that's right.
Playing Loki in the play.
Yes.
So I can only hope that it's a small cameo.
Right.
Or something where, he disappears a couple seconds later. I don't know. I was like, but I got that news like it was like breaking news. And I was like, first of all, no one asked for this. No one asked for Matt Damon to return or anything else from Matt Damon.
Well, it's like that. Remember, I know we've watched this YouTube video together. Where Probably. It's Matt Damon as Loki. You know, it was like...
it was from the last Kevin Smith movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it was like just all of a sudden it stops and it's Matt Damon as Loki. Like, it's just like this weird
It's Matt Damon as Matt Damon, but also as Loki from Dogma.
Right.
But also Loki from Thor.
Right.
And
he's played Loki numerous times.
From different angles.
I don't have anything crazy against Matt Damon, but he's been in less good things as he has been in actual... Like, Born Identity, good. We Bought a Zoo, not so much. Just saying.
I'm going to run down some Matt Damon filmography.
Well, I think one of the greatest things... You've seen Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Yes.
There's a scene where they break into the movie studio set and it's Ben Affleck playing a version of Ben Affleck and Matt Damon playing a version of Matt Damon, arguing and just making fun of each other's movies.
Right.
And I think that's one of the greatest scenes, because it's just like, hey, you ever watch Reindeer Games? You know?
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, have you ever seen Talented Mr. Ripley? Like, just because they were making Good Will Hunting 2. Hunting season. That was
I mean, he's been in some truly great movies,
He has.
and he's been in some real.
But not for a while. At least in my own thing. It's been some time.
Let's see here.
Since he's been in...
Well, he was tremendous in Ford versus Ferrari.
Okay, I'll give you that. I forgot about that one. He was very good.
Absolute show-stopping, like, amazing performance in that. But then he was also in Deadpool 2 as Redneck number 2.
Oh, yeah. I actually watched that the other day. Because I'm going through a thing of... I've been doing this for a while that I'm like, Deadpool 1 was amazing. Deadpool 2 was okay. Like that, and that's just where I've been for a while. And that's where I've been for a while.
I agree.
I watched it on TV because, again, going back to our whole thing, like you can play those kind of movies on TV now,
right?
And it was funnier than I remembered.
I rewatched.
I gave it
several months ago.
I gave it another shot.
Yeah,
I still prefer the first one.
Still wasn't as good as the first one.
Well, it's kind of like I was talking with my son. I don't know what movie we were kind of talking about, but I was talking about like the Matrix movies. I was like, Matrix 1, amazing. Matrix 2 had some good parts, but not as good. Matrix 3 had like a good part.
Right.
So it's just one of those things as far as like Deadpool, watching Deadpool 2 again, I'm like, I forget how good it was, but it was still
not as good as
still
the first one.
in my own personal opinion.
Right.
That it wasn't as good.
All right, so let's in the spirit of that, and before we wrap up, let's talk about sequels that were better than the first in their franchise or series. I can think of one right off the top of my head because I've been in this weird kind of headspace recently.
Okay.
Where nothing new is like intriguing.
Okay.
Like last night, my wife and I were trying to figure out something to watch, and I was just like, I can't.
Right.
I cannot come up with the answer to this question for you.
Right.
Because all I want to do, like, if it were up to me right now, we would watch a movie that I've seen 100 times.
Right.
And then your comment just got me thinking that Deadpool 2 certainly wasn't as good as Deadpool.
No.
But you know what movie was better than its original, even though both are great?
Okay.
John Wick 2.
Yes. 100%. John Wick 2 I can watch. Like, loved John Wick 2. John Wick was good.
Loved that movie.
The
Still
first
love
one.
that movie.
First one's good. But I feel like the second one, they built on that world.
Well, because they've been doing this really cool thing where literally the last scene of the movie and then the first scene of the next one
just go together.
They're seamless.
Right. They go right together. No, I agree on that one.
And so...
And there's plenty... Like, there's not an overabundance of... one, and I can't think of any right now, but there's like, you know what? That one's really, really good. Because, honestly, a lot of the time you go, all right, it was good. Like...
What movie did we end up watching last night?
Yeah, Deadpool 2... Like, I can still watch it. It's good enough that I can, like...
Right. It's not
rewatch.
Jurassic Park: The Lost World.
Yeah. That was rough.
That was a turd.
That was rough. Yeah, but there's sometimes that it's like, okay, you should have just stopped.
We watched that new George Clooney Netflix movie. Like Midnight Sky or something like that.
Okay.
It was just weird. The Midnight Sky.
Okay.
It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. And I mean, the movie's been out for like almost a month now, so I feel like I can.
Right.
You know, if you were gonna watch it, you probably it's one of those like, okay, everyone's doing all this stuff and doing all this work just for everyone to just die anyway.
Right. And I kind of feel like I don't have anything against George Clooney. I just feel like a lot of his movies are the same kind of tone. same kind
This
of
was
thing.
definitely a different George
Okay.
Clooney movie, for sure. And again, it wasn't bad, but you are left asking yourself questions at the end of it.
Like, why did I watch this movie? No, I'm kidding.
But,
no, it makes me think of like Tom Hanks.
Right.
You know what I want to see from Tom Hanks?
A solid ending?
Well, not only that, but it's like, listen, he's been doing the same type of dramatic movies for the last whatever. You know what my favorite Tom Hanks movies are?
Big.
Turner and Hooch.
Yeah. Like, I would love to
Splash.
see him. But you know what?
Like, I want to see it.
His son has kind of picked up some of those roles.
I know.
And he has that same ability. We watched him in
Colin Hanks is hilarious.
a TV show.
Life in Pieces.
Loved it.
Yeah,
and he is
great show.
Hilarious in that movie.
I just want, like, if I was Tom
Bring
Hanks,
that back, CBS.
No kidding.
What's wrong with you?
Stop canceling good shows.
Yeah.
No, if I was Tom Hanks'
Cancel
agent,
one of
I'd be
the
like,
CSIs.
hey, like, why don't you do a comedy? Like, no one will be expecting it.
Right.
Like, and I'm not saying like a sequel to Big, because going back to our conversation,
Well, they just made
that'd be
that
horrible.
One. That was a reboot. That wasn't a sequel.
Listen,
We
I'm not
know the
even gonna.
difference.
No, we're not opening that. We're not opening that door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to see him do one of those kind of cheesy comedies. You know, not the rom-coms that he did. You know, Sleepless in Seattle and You've Got Mail. Those were bad.
Right.
But they weren't big.
True. But let's be honest. It's been long enough. Okay?
Right.
It's been long enough. Was Sleepless in Seattle really a good movie? Like, if you delve into it and like,
honey, turn off the show now.
Like,
we're wading into dangerous territory for me.
no, but it's a good movie. That's what I'm saying.
It is a good movie.
I'm saying it's a good movie, but is it a real, like? It's one of those questions. Like,
Is it really good?
Is it really? Would that make your top 50
for me?
Yeah.
No.
I'm just like,
and aside from Toy Story,
right?
I don't know that there is a Tom Hanks movie that would make my top 50.
Okay. I feel like there is somewhere. I don't know. Top 50. That's a tight spot.
Top 50 movies next week.
Oof. I don't know if I can do that, but
yes, you can.
I agree. But it's just one of those things. Like, I was thinking about long ago, because Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks are actually in the movie together for a couple minutes. Like,
yes, like on the same set,
on the same
location,
in the same scene.
Yeah,
for a couple minutes.
Right.
So it's just one of those things. Like, I don't know, but I think you could do that with a lot of movies of just going like. And again, we're going into dangerous things, but it's like, was this really? It was a good movie, but can you explain why you think it was a good movie?
Because I will say this. This is breaking news.
And again, please understand, I think it's a good movie.
I do too, but I will say that everything.
Yeah.
I don't know if I may have to amend this later, but I will say everything that Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore have done together is better than anything that Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan did together.
I'm not gonna disagree with you.
That's, you know,
but it was just one of those things of, and it's not just that movie. There's other movies that it's like, I like this movie. I like Sleepless in Seattle. I don't dislike it.
But it's not anywhere in my top anything of movies.
Right. But you go, hey, yeah, it's a really good movie, but can you tell me why it's a good movie?
No.
Yeah, like,
anyways. It's my wife's favorite movie,
and again,
of all
like,
time.
If it was on TV or something like that, like, I'd probably end up watching it.
Right.
I don't dislike it. So
that being said,
it's just one of those things of like,
Is it as good as we think it is?
Is it as good as I remember?
Right.
Like, if I was to sit down, not just that movie, but there's other movies that going, hey, that was really big. No pun intended. But, like, it was a really big movie. It did very well.
Yeah.
Did I enjoy it because...
You're supposed to?
You're supposed to, and it's Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. It's kind of like You Got Mail. Can we... Listen, there's a couple funny parts in that movie.
No one likes to admit this, but You've Got Mail and
Didn't
Sleepless
age well.
in Seattle
Yeah.
are the same freaking movie.
Same actors, same...
It's lazy writing. It's lazy filmmaking.
Right. It's like an unnamed actor that I'm not going to mention that takes stuff and repackages it. They didn't even fully repackage Sleepless in Seattle.
No.
Like...
Who are you talking about?
It's too soon.
It's not.
It's too soon.
Say it.
No,
Say the name.
We've talked about this before. Tyler Perry.
Oh, yeah.
Tyler Perry has been involved with the repackaging of... You were just talking about Little.
Right.
Which is repackage of Big. I will firmly say his Medea character is Ernest Goes to Jail. Is the Ernest character with the Tyler Perry twist.
Right.
But it's Ernest. And there's been other ones where I've just been like, so
this is what we're doing.
Just gonna take...
This is what we're doing.
No.
No, and
I've had too much birthday cake this morning.
That's what happens when you give you birthday cake for birthdays. Yeah. And so at least when... So the big three, right, when you're talking about Meg Ryan, Tom Hanks, you've got Joe versus the Volcano.
Great, which I loved as a kid.
Which is better than Sleepless in Seattle or You've Got Mail.
Wow. Okay.
At least when Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore do movies together, they're different.
100%.
50 First Dates, amazing. The Wedding Singer, one
fantastic.
Of the best
that started it all.
Romantic comedies of all time.
Yeah, and also Blended.
Blended
was great. Fantastic. Yeah.
It was great. So you put those three movies versus Joe versus the Volcano, Sleepless in Seattle.
This is a battle
and
royale
You've Got
right
Mail.
now.
And I'm telling you, the Adam Sandler Drew Barrymore combo is at its worst moments better than either of those three movies.
You take one of those movies, any one of the Adam Sandler, Drew Barrymore. I have watched those individually more times than I've seen. Like, I've seen Blended way more times than I've seen Sleepless in Seattle.
Yeah.
And that's not even like...
Now, and again, my wife can quote the movie. Like,
and that's where I'm trying to go for.
Like,
I still like it. I still like the movie.
It's not bad, but when, so you have... I'm trying to think of other matchups that have recurred like those two. But those two are the two that really come to mind for me.
Yeah.
Where it's...
Matthew McConaughey and Kate Hudson. I'm just joking. That was the only one I could think of where they've been in a couple movies.
Oh, yeah.
But no, like, and again, I like the movies. But it's just one of those things of...
But to me, that's a direct comparison.
Why is it a good... No, it's a
with
perfect
the exception,
analogy because there's 3 and 3.
But Tom Hanks is a better actor than Adam Sandler.
Oh, 100%.
There's so I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the stories, the writing, is better.
Yeah. Wow.
What if? So then it gets the wheels turning. Okay. Because arguably Meg Ryan might be a better actress than Drew Barrymore.
True. Okay. Listen, I love Drew Barrymore. We've had that conversation. But there's certain actresses that kind of play themselves in every role. Drew Barrymore, cute, bubbly, and everything like that.
Kind of her.
Plays herself.
And so does Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
So, and maybe that's why those things work, because you do know, just through interviews and things like that, that they
they're
are close friends.
Yeah.
That they genuinely love each other.
Yeah.
As friends.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's why, because Adam Sandler plays Adam Sandler.
Right.
And Drew Barrymore plays Drew Barrymore. And because they're actually friends.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just why it works better.
Wow. I don't even know how to top that one. It was one of those things talking about Sleepless in Seattle.
But here's what it's got. Here's what it's got me thinking though.
All right.
What if you reversed the roles? Okay. Could
Tom Hanks pull off Wedding Singer?
Could Tom Hanks
I think he could.
And Meg Ryan pull off The Wedding Singer?
I think
And
I
then
think they could.
inversely, could Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore pull off
Joe versus the Volcano?
Joe versus the Volcano? Absolutely.
100%.
And I feel that Joe versus the Volcano with Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore is a better movie.
Yeah.
I
think Sleepless in Seattle would have been
right.
like Adam Sandler comedy in Sleepless in Seattle.
Would have been great.
It would have been fantastic.
Wow.
Wow.
And so
and listen, I think we can talk about You've Got Mail, that it doesn't like hold up. You can't just go watch You've Got Mail right now because like if my kids watched it was like the beginning of email.
Right.
Like introduction. And so it's like, why didn't they just, you ever done that, watched movies or shows lately where it was like, why don't they just text each other?
Right.
They could have just called each other or texted each other and said like
text messages didn't exist, son.
Or going into my new Corona effect. Have you watched movies or TV shows now that came out like a while ago and go, whoa, they are way too close to each other?
I don't do that, but
they are in each other's bubbles.
But what we are going to see, and there's a new movie just released on HBO, I believe, starring Princess Diaries. Anne Hathaway.
I almost said Anne Heche. It was not Anne Heche.
Not Anne Heche.
It was Devil Wears Prada.
Called Locked Down. And it takes place, a lot of the shots of the film are set in like virtual meetings and things like that.
Right.
And so it's set now.
That's genius.
And so I think we're going to see a few of those films come out where they're going to incorporate social distancing and masks and things like that.
No, I think that's genius.
I don't.
There's
and here's why.
Yeah. You don't think it's a good idea?
I don't.
Okay.
For the very same reason that why didn't he just text her?
Right.
It won't age well at all.
No,
it'll
I don't
date
think so.
the movie badly.
Yeah, but I think there's some good writing movie opportunities for some comedies of two people being stuck in lockdown together.
Right.
Like ha ha ha. But and again, we could play this whole game. Oh, before we fade to black. So flipping through channels, came across the telenovela channel, right?
Okay.
And it was
Univision?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Oh, you said it very well, by the way. But it was Fatal Identification. So, or no, false. It was so pretty much translated false identity.
Okay.
And I was like, what is the movie False Identity about? I tried to, like, the info, obviously I couldn't.
It's in Spanish.
It's Spanish, and I couldn't make it. So, that is my new thing of figuring out what the movie False Identity. Don't Google that.
Oh, no.
That's part of the game. So, next week, we'll have the movie.
So, now we have
the
extra
plot.
homework to do.
The plot.
Top 50.
Yeah. Next week's going to be.
Top 50 movies.
Evidently, we don't have anything else to do the next week.
You do it for a few minutes every day and you get it knocked out.
Top 50 is going to take me.
Top 50 movies.
Because things are going to get moved around.
And a screenplay. Or at least a pitch. An elevator pitch for the movie False Identity.
Listen, we've done those in like 5 minutes. So, False Identity. What is the movie False Identity about?
So, that's what's happening next week.
Let us know in the comments if you want it to be a comedy.
Oh.
There you go.
Here's what we're going to do. All right. top 50 will be in 2 weeks.
Okay.
We'll give ourselves 2 weeks to
Do
really
top 50.
refine that list.
Okay.
Next week, 4 versions.
Ooh, a false identity.
Four versions of false identity.
Okay.
Next week.
Can do in the comments. We'll see who. So for the first 4, whether it be comedy.
No, so we're gonna do. Let's do comedy.
Okay.
Horror.
Ooh. Okay.
Action.
Okay.
Drama.
Okay. For the movie False Identity.
False identity.
All right, kids.
4 genres, 1 title. There we go. So that'll be next week. Thank you guys for tuning in as
Thank you.
always.
Thank you.
And yeah, until next time, he's Tucker.
He's a beard.
And we are out.
Birthday cake.